Good evening, everybody. It is the Safety and the Sportswriter show with Knoxville, Nate, and Big Joe as we get ready for Super Bowl weekend. Always both the best and the worst of sports as we say goodbye to football, unfortunately, on Sunday for a while. Although we'll have the draft and everything else coming up, because football never really goes away. But it is the measurement of another season. And we have the Eagles against the Chiefs. Eagles trying to prevent history from being made and put themselves maybe in the process, because this is the second time in 3 years these two teams are meeting. This could become a regular event with the fact that you both got two young quarterbacks and pretty damn good teams. Nate, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, buddy. I was happy. Congratulations to Mr. Ryan Day. Getting paid today, $12.5 million extension through 2031. It's funny to me that, 5 weeks ago, everybody wanted to fire this guy. And now everybody wants to hire his assistants and pay him money. I really think it's hilarious how these people that, sent messages to his family and told him that he should kill himself and all this stuff, now act like they love him and that he's the greatest coach ever and just pretend like they never sent those tweets, or posted those social media posts. And I'm like, dude, I screenshotted a lot of you guys' shit. So you did do it, and you can't just pretend like you didn't.
It's the way of the world. I mean, that's the worst
thing. It's a joke.
We are just always, what have you done for me lately? I want it now. I mean, if you think about, the way we were raised, you wanted your coaches to give you a chance every year, and that's what he's done.
Yeah.
That's all he can do.
He's won 11 games every season that he's been there. 11 games every year. And he'd already been to the championship game once in 2020. And then let's be honest, in 2021, they should have been in the final game then. I mean, that guy choked on that kick on the last play of the game. And then in 2019, they got screwed against Clemson. So, it's not like this guy's been a terrible coach. He's gotten them right there on the precipice every season. And if they had a 12-team playoff every year, he'd been the coach, they'd have been in the playoff every single year. So who knows how many titles he might have had, had that been the case. But I get it. It's like Duke basketball or, let's say the Dodgers. They don't win the title, it's a failure. And I understand that. But to act like he's not a good coach, it's like the people that act like LeBron sucks at basketball. It's like,
it also is because, he's following, not that he didn't follow a legend, but I mean, in the last 20 years, Nick Saban put up such numbers and had so many championships that everybody thinks that's what every great coach should do. And it just can't be done. I mean, if you go back in the legends of the sport, Bear Bryant was coaching for 50 years, and he won 6 championships. I mean, the greats of the greats didn't win as many as Nick Saban did in a condensed time frame, and that kind of skewed things. And people are judged on that, and that's not fair because it's not going to happen like that.
Even Nick Saban couldn't be Nick Saban the past several years. I mean, the last time they won a title was 2020, the year that Ryan Day lost to him, and he hadn't won one since. So it wasn't even easy for him anymore. And I get that, and I understand I understand the expectations more than anyone, being as crazy of a fan as I am. But I'm just not one of those people that we lose a game and I want to fire everybody. I'm not one of those people where we go 10-2 or whatever, 11-2, and it's not where we want to be. I'm not ready to, why? What's wrong with this guy? It's a game, man. Sometimes the ball bounces your way, sometimes it doesn't, and it's a lot harder than it looks on TV, folks.
Well, and there's only one team in the end that's always happy. That's all that matters. It's the one who's standing in the end. Before we get into the Super Bowl, surprising NBA trade last Saturday night. You're my NBA guy. Did you see that coming?
No. If somebody says they saw that coming, they're lying to you, because no one saw that coming. Luka didn't know. Anthony Davis didn't know. LeBron didn't know. So Nate Schmidt sure as hell didn't know. It's interesting. I think There's been some conflict all season with the Mavericks and Luka. And I think it started, before, the training camp stuff. He came in overweight, out of shape, all that. But there's something more going on despite that. And I don't think that we'll ever really know. Maybe we will find out, but I don't really know. But that doesn't make any sense that you have a superstar, top 5 player in the league, averaged 30 points a game for his career, took you to the finals last year, and you dump him basically at the trade deadline. It's crazy. It's definitely the craziest trade that I've ever seen, and the fact that they kept it, on the low like they did was just amazing in today's day and age. But really, I think it's a good move for the Lakers. LeBron's not getting any younger. They need somebody that will bring people to come watch the Lakers. And, they needed another go-to guy. If they were going to make any run this year, I still don't think they're a championship team, but they have a chance now because they don't have to just throw it to LeBron, when the game is on the line. They have LeBron and him can play a 2-man game. Now they got Mark Williams and they can have him do a pick and roll type of stuff. And, they still got Austin Reeves. They've got scorers now that can hit shots. And LeBron is a facilitator. It's going to be interesting to me to see how they play this with LeBron and Luka on the court at the same time. I don't know how that's going to work out, but I definitely think it was a really good move for the Lakers and a really good trade for them to make them, give them a chance.
Yeah, and then now you got street clothes down in Dallas. I got a question about it. Do you think this shows a shift in the way Dallas is going to be doing things? Because I know Cuban now isn't the majority holder anymore.
No, it's the guys. It's the folks that own the Sands Casino.
So are the golden years of the Mavericks? You got to hope Kyrie keeps it together, and street clothes can be on the court a lot, because otherwise that team's kind of ordinary in a way, isn't it?
Yeah. No, Anthony Davis is a great player. When he plays, when he's on the court, he's an excellent center. But we call him Street Clothes Davis for a reason. He's just never been able to stay healthy for a full season. And when you're going for a championship, you need guys that are going to be there, no matter what. And he's had problems with his legs, with his feet. And struggled to stay healthy. And it's interesting, the Mavericks are 26-25, so they weren't really lighting it up without Luka, and now they're not going to have him at all. So I just Kyrie Irving's been scoring, but who else is going to score? Luka's played in 20 games and he averaged 28 points a game. 8 rebounds and 8 assists. 28, 8, and 8 is a damn good stat line, especially for someone who has been mired with injuries. But now you got Kyrie, you got AD, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively are all really good big guys. But I don't know how that's going to work either, having all 3 of those guys on the court at once. I don't know. We'll see how that works, but it's going to be interesting. The area
usually. So
none of those guys can shoot threes. Anthony Davis is probably the best, shooter of those 3 guys, but I just don't know how that works. So we'll have to stay tuned.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Well, everybody's chasing OKC out there. Kind of weird though, you got Anthony Davis coming to Dallas. Houston's on the rise. San Antonio's got Wemby. I don't know how it works down there, but up here I know, because most of sports in New York area, you got 2 or 3 teams. I wonder how the public sentiment is gonna ride away from Dallas now, because they let Luka go.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I can tell you this trade deadline made the NBA a lot more exciting. I don't know if you've followed all the drama down in Miami.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy Butler.
But it's been a shit show down there for weeks. Him refusing to practice, refusing to play, being suspended indefinitely, costing himself millions of dollars. Of course, he's making all that up now that he's gone to Golden State. But, I listened to Stephen A. I don't know why, but I listened to Stephen A. earlier talk about how this doesn't make the Golden State better at all. Well, we'll see. I mean, if it's Jimmy Butler, from the last couple of years, not this year, but the last couple of years, and it's playoff Jimmy.
Yeah.
If they get him, it might make them better. But I just don't know if that guy is still there and if he's going to show up. And then, I'll tell you this, San Antonio may not be that great this year, but moving forward, I think this year even some, and definitely moving forward now that they got De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is the biggest superstar nobody knows about because he's played for the damn Kings.
Right.
It's like going to Siberia or Charlotte. It's like, who do you play for? You're in the NBA. Who do you play? I'm on the Charlotte Hornets. Oh, that's why I've never heard of you.
That's still an NBA team?
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like where you just go to you go to disappear. But now he's not on the Kings anymore. Now he is on the Spurs. And people are going to get to see this guy because they already put the Spurs on TV because of Wemby. And now you're going to have De'Aaron Fox and him. And they didn't even have to give up Keldon Johnson, or they've got Chris Paul, who's now going to get to come off the bench. The Spurs just got a lot better. And, if Popovich can come back, I don't know what his health is at the moment. But if he can come back and coach this team, they could be really good really quick.
All right. And then let's point our attention down to New Orleans, where everybody is down around Bourbon Street now. Probably right now, the players probably their last night out before they get ready for the big game. Got the Chiefs going for history, being the first team in the Super Bowl era to win 3 in a row. You got the Eagles. They met 2 years ago. 38-35 was the score. Jalen Hurts put on a show in that game. Should have been the MVP. I mean, the 70 yards rushing along with 300 something yards passing. I mean, he kind of held them in that game altogether, but he did make the biggest error of the game also with the fumble. Yeah. Going into this game, you got to look, first of all, a lot of my friends asking me about, who I'm rooting for. And I say I can't root for the Eagles because I'm a Giant fan. I mean, I have nothing but respect for Saquon. If he wins, I'll be happy for him. My thing is, the first thing that comes to mind for me is the Chiefs defense has to keep Saquon from big runs. Make him earn every yard. Can they do it?
I mean, easier said than done. I mean, let's definitely call a spade a spade. Steve Spagnuolo is the best defensive coordinator of the modern era. There's no doubt about that. But this Chiefs defense, to me, is not as dominant as the Chiefs defense, last year even, or the year before. I mean, I definitely last year. They're just not as good, in my opinion. And for whatever reason, I don't know. They've had trouble stopping the run. I don't know if you recall, but I was so confused the couple of games ago, when they played the Bills and the Bills came out, out of halftime and started running the ball with James Cook, and the Chiefs just could not stop him. And then they just stopped running it. And I didn't really understand that at all. The Bills ran 32 carries for 147 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's almost 5 yards a carry. But they got away from it for some reason. And I really don't know why. I mean, we'd have to ask, Joe Brady why he quit running the ball. But I think he cost them the game doing that because they were having a lot of success running it. And I just don't see the Chiefs being able to stop the Eagles running the ball. I mean, can they maybe slow them down? Possibly, but they're going to run. My opinion, the Eagles are going to run for 150 yards.
Well, Brady made the same mistake that Kyle Shanahan did when he was holding all the cards against the Patriots in that Super Bowl a few years, or about 10 years ago. So all he had to do was run the ball. What you said 150 yards on the ground. How much is A.J. Brown and can't think of the other wide receivers' name
Devontae
right
Smith.
now? Yeah. How are they going to cope with them? Because if they're going to have to, if they are getting a lot, if they're getting gashed, they're going to have to put a lot in the box. Will
Right.
Jalen Hurts be? And this is the thing that makes me laugh is like Jalen Hurts can't pass the ball. All they can do is run with Saquon. He doesn't have to pass the ball. They're running with Saquon.
No.
Any coach in America, I don't care what coach, with the possible exception of someone like Mike Martz, would rather run the ball 40 times and win the game 21-10 than to have passed the ball 50 times.
Well, why would you not run it when you have the best running back, one of the top 3 running backs in the NFL and the best offensive line in the NFL? Why would you not run it? That if you don't run it when you have those two things, that makes you stupid. They run the ball a lot because they're good at it, and because they keep the ball away from the other team, time of possession, yada yada. That's why they run it, but that doesn't mean that Jalen Hurts can't throw it. Even in the playoffs, he's completing 70% of his passes. He's only averaging 170 yards a game, but he's got 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's what else do you want? I mean, this guy doesn't turn the ball over. If they need to throw it, they throw it. The thing about the Eagles is they have something that nobody else has. They have the ability to pick up a first down on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 4th and 1, 4th and 2 every single time. So they don't really worry about like, oh, it's 3rd and 13. We've got to throw it 15 yards. They don't think like that. They're like, oh, it's 3rd and 13. We got to get 11 here. And so he'll throw a 7-yard pass. Maybe the guy will get a couple yards after contact. And then they get in the formation and they do the brotherly shove. And they know they're going to pick it up. And that's what separates them. And that's why they do what they do, because they know they have that up in their sleeve to throw out when they need it.
Thank you for calling the brotherly shove, not the tush push.
I can't. I hate hearing that.
Me too. I hate it.
They're not. Stupid. No one's touching anyone's tush.
Right. It's the
except for the quarterback, like he always does.
And the brotherly shove is so much more about Philadelphia. It works with it. It makes no sense. Yeah. All right, let's talk about Mahomes' magic here. Man is seemingly. I mean, we talked about it continually this year. Everybody, what's wrong with Kansas City? What's wrong with Kansas City? They've lost 2 games, but they're doing it. That's the fun thing about Andy Reid and Mahomes working together. Is much like Brady and Belichick. Early in the Belichick-Brady era, it was a lot more about running the football. Then it became about passing the football. Then it became about tight ends. They just seem to adapt to whatever they need to do to win. Against this Philadelphia defense, where do you think they're going to look to attack?
I think you got to go after these young corners. I know they played well pretty much the whole season, and I understand that. But where are you going to attack? The defensive line? Hell no. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, those guys are 350 pounds plus. And then you got Milton Williams and Nolan Smith on the edge. Zach Baum is the best linebacker in all of football right now, and possibly, potentially the defensive player of the year, not to mention Josh Sweat there as well. So, you're not going to run at them. I think the only thing you can do is, if you are Andy Reid and you're Patrick Mahomes, you got to go after Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. And I get it. These guys have played, the entire season, and they've done a great job. But they are still NFL rookies. And, they don't have a ton. I mean, I know they played all year, but they don't have a ton of experience. And, you can play really good against a lot of teams. That doesn't mean you can do the same things against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So that, to me, is where this game is going to be won or lost, if those 2 young guys can hold up.
Andy Reid a lot. A lot way back when in his Eagles days. Maybe not so much anymore. He used to love the screen game. Could you see them trying to get the screen pass to take the place of the running game?
Yeah, I could see that for sure, especially with the guys they have in the backfield. I mean, they don't have a bruiser who just goes after you. I mean, I would say Pacheco's probably their bruiser, but they don't just give him the ball 30, 40 times. I mean, Kareem Hunt has been their primary back, and then they've kind of gone to a system between Kareem Hunt, Pacheco, P. Ryan, Carson Steele. They just kind of ride the hot hand. And I think they'll do a lot of that in this game. I think they'll try and get Pacheco out in space. I think they'll throw the ball to P. Ryan. I think they will definitely try and supplement their run game with the short passes.
Fangio, when he looks at Mahomes, specifically, especially in a game like this, you would think one of his big efforts is going to be to take Kelsey away from him, his security blanket. Take it like you said. His cornerbacks are going to have to hold up, but let's face facts: the wide receivers, what other weapons can Mahomes go to in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, Travis Kelsey had his worst game ever of his career in the playoffs against the Bills. He had 2 catches for 19 yards. That's noteworthy in my opinion. But the good news for the Chiefs is they don't discriminate when they're throwing the football. Okay. And he'll throw it to whoever. He doesn't give a shit.
Right.
What number it is or who it is. He'll throw it to whoever. And the good news about the Chiefs this year is, they're not as wide receiver depleted. I know Rashee Rice is hurt and McCole Hardman is hurt and Sky Moore is hurt and all that. I understand that, but they went out and got some guys. They got some bodies. They got Justin Watson. They got DeAndre Hopkins. They got Smith-Schuster. They got Hollywood Brown healthy, not to mention the speedster, Xavier Worthy. So I think, they just got to take what the defense gives them and throw it to who's open. And that's what he does. And, hopefully one of these guys can have a big game. DeAndre Hopkins hasn't really done much, to be honest with you, since he's been in Kansas City. And wouldn't this be a great time for him to have a big game?
Yeah, it could be. It could be, something that Andy Reid's been scheming around, waiting for the right time to let him loose. Yeah, maybe he's got some plays in mind. How about the points? I mean, 73 points in the last meeting. That's a hell of a lot of points. That's for a Super Bowl, especially. I mean, not too many Super Bowls are played over 50 points. Would you expect it to be a lower scoring game or a shootout?
I expect it to be lower scoring for sure than the last time. I think right now the line is 1.5. The last time I saw, and that sounds about right to me. But I think the points are 48.5, and I would probably take the under on that. To be honest with you, I just I don't see this being a high flying. I mean, the Chiefs aren't that team anymore. They're not that take the top off the defense and throw it deep on every play. Tyreek Hill bombs. Kelsey's not as fast as he used to be. So they're more of take what they get and methodically move it down the field. So, I'm thinking like maybe 24-20 is kind of what I'm feeling right now. 24-21, 24-20. That's kind of where I'm at with this game at the moment.
Yeah, I was thinking around 27-17. I thought would be about the right score for this one. Maybe a late field goal to clinch it just to make sure. But you got to talk about the coaches too. I mean, you got to put even though Fangio's done well with that defense, Sirianni. Still kind of an unknown guy, even though he's been successful. I mean, 2 Super Bowls in 3 years is pretty damn successful. Yeah. But you got Andy Reid, who's the old hand at this, and like everybody's been saying, finally, if they could ever put an assistant football coach in the Hall of Fame, Spags has to be right up there on the top of the list. when you look at these coaching staffs, where do you think Andy can come up with something that we're not ready for?
Andy always can. I mean, especially with 2 weeks to plan. I mean, he's potentially going to be the most winningest coach of all time when he's all said and done. If he wins, like 12 games, I think the next 2 years he's going to pass Belichick, and then of course the next is being the best. Passing Shula and being the top guy. So I think. That he wins for a reason, and that's because he's an innovator. He's a great teacher. He's a stellar offensive mind. But I think Nick Sirianni doesn't get the credit that he deserves. This guy, got him to the Super Bowl. The year after that, he lost both of his coordinators, and they got to the Super Bowl. So when he lost both his coordinators, a lot of the other guys had already been hired, and there wasn't a ton of guys to choose from. And I think they suffered a little bit because of that. But here he is now. He's comfortable with the guys that he's got. Kellen Moore, I believe, is calling plays, and then obviously Fangio. So he's confident in those guys again, and then he can kind of just do what he does, which is manage the whole thing. And I think these are two good coaching staffs. But I mean, if I had to give a nod to one way or the other, I'd definitely give it to Andy Reid. I mean, this guy has won his entire career. Think about when he was at the Eagles. They did not have the most talent, Joe. No. I mean, they had Donovan McNabb. They had Trey Thomas, who was a great tackle. They had a really good defense. And then they just kind of had some guys, on offense, Todd Pinkston and Freddie Mitchell, and not guys that would, be riding in the Pro Bowl every year for a receiver. But he made it work because he was an innovator and a really good play caller.
Yeah, for sure. So you're picking the Chiefs, you're picking the Eagles.
Man, I don't know. I really want the Eagles to win, and I think they can. But I think if I pick them, then they'll lose. So I kind of want to pick the Chiefs and then have the Eagles win. But no, I'm pretty confident that the Eagles, are a better team right now. I think that you never want to bet against Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, but I feel like this Eagles team is a lot better than the Eagles team that was here 2 years ago. I don't know what you think, but I think they're better.
I'm going with the Chiefs, and most of it's because I don't really have a feel for this game, but I can't root for the Eagles, so I got to go with the Chiefs. And like you said, Mahomes is hard to root against, or or bet against, I should say. So we'll see what happens there. Quickly, in the time we got left, let's do a little recap of where the NFL coaching carousel has been landing. Some surprising things. Pete Carroll to the Raiders. Why the hell would he want to take on that? I don't know. The more and more I think about it, I mean, I agree with what the Patriots did in bringing back Vrabel. He was the best candidate for them. But, man, there's a lot of pressure on that guy now. I mean, he didn't go right after Belichick, so he had kind of a year away. I think he has a chance to do very well, and he seems to have a quarterback in position to make him competitive right away. But man, there's a lot of pressure on him. But let's look at, how about Ben Johnson in Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, every year we talk about how Chicago's going to be great, and every year they're not. So I'm still not 100% sold on this team. They're going to have to win and impress me before I'm going to start backing them and start telling you how great they are. Every year they the Bears are back. The Bears have got their guy. The Bears are here, and then the Bears suck. They got rid of Justin Fields and moved off of him and went and got this new guy, number one quarterback in the draft, and surrounded him with all this talent. And then they won less games and were 5-12. Losing 10 straight, mind you. So, and we never know, dude. You never know how a coordinator is going to do as a head coach until he's actually the head guy. I do like his staff. He took a lot of guys from the Lions staff. I'm not sure Dan Campbell's real happy about that because this guy raided the fridge, man. He looked around at all the good shit in the refrigerator before he left the house and took it with him. So I'm not sure how the Lions feel about that, but he's got a good staff, and he does have some good talent. But I'm not sold on this quarterback at all yet. Could he possibly be good? Yeah, but I didn't like what I saw out of him for most of the first year, and the team as a whole. So we'll see how that goes. But as far as Vrabel goes, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell they were doing with Gerard Mayo. You give the guy no talent. You draft a quarterback number 3 overall. You make him play the quarterback, pretty early, and then you fire him after year 1. I think that was the biggest hose job that I've seen. Do I think he did a fabulous job as the head coach? No. But, he's never been a head coach before, and you knew that. So he definitely got screwed up there. Do I think Vrabel's a better coach than him? Yeah, he is. But if you wanted Mike Vrabel to be your coach, you should have hired him last year.
Yeah, I agree. It was a classless move. I totally agree with you there.
Well, this is the guy going to the rub and tug every day down in Florida in the Mr. Kraft, and then trying to act like it's not that big a deal. So what do you expect from that guy? You wanted to see class from the guy that goes to the rub and tug every day? Yeah, okay.
Well, it's like, back to Chicago. The other thing about Ben Johnson, yes, he's leaving Detroit. He took a lot of Detroit's with him, but still, Detroit, Green Bay, Vikings all made the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And you're taking over this team that hasn't made the playoffs, a few years, and with a young quarterback, like you said, it's a question mark. How about Aaron Glenn coming to the Jets? I kind of like the move. I was afraid they were going to move back to something like Rex Ryan, but still, you got the quarterback question. It's funny how it seems like there is a wealth of quarterbacks in this that's come into the league in the last 5-6 years, but so many teams like the Giants, like the Jets, are still looking for their quarterback. It's like you couldn't find somebody in all those quarterbacks out there.
Well,
the Giants tried.
Well, there's not that many out there is the problem. The issue right now is I think you got to bring Aaron Rodgers back, because who are you going to get? There's nobody in this draft that really tickles my fancy. Nope. And then you look at the free agent veterans. You've got Sam Darnold. You already tried that once. You got Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Mariota, Dalton, Flacco, Stidham, Huntley. There is nobody as a veteran guy, and then I don't like anybody in this draft. So I just don't see any options for the Jets right now. Maybe they can trade for somebody. I don't know. But
trade for who? Jake Browning? Where are you going to get a quarterback? Unless you got somebody who the team is.
I don't know. I don't know who you trade for. I'm just saying that.
All right, we'll have to see about that.
Yeah, I don't know who you get, but I'm just saying I don't know. You don't want to draft anybody. Who you want to draft?
Well, the only other thing, two. First of all, Pete Carroll, who I mentioned at the top of this section, I don't understand him. I don't understand him going to that mess and having to compete twice a year with Kansas City, the Chargers, and Denver. That's a tall order for him, especially with no quarterback. Unless they're going to maybe they have their eye on making some kind of a draft day move with Shedeur Sanders, or one of those guys. And I told you what I want. I want their backup tight end. I'll tell the Giants right now, give them the third choice, take their choice, and take that backup tight end from Notre Dame that you're not even using.
Yeah, no, I never really understood why they drafted the best tight end in the draft 2 years in a row. It kind of surprised me why they would do that. But I can tell you why Pete Carroll's there. He wanted to coach. He was pissed when he got fired. And then last year he sat around and was like trying to kind of get his hands around, not being a coach anymore. And he just kind of looked around and was like, screw this. I want to coach. I love coaching. he said it himself. He's like he's like a junkie. He's a football junkie, and he lives it, he breathes it, and he doesn't seem like a guy that's as old as he is. He's got a ton of injury, he's got a ton of drive, and he wanted to coach. And I think the Raiders were the only ones that wanted him, and so he took it. Now he's got a tall order ahead of him, and obviously with his age and with the short fuse that the Raiders have, you better produce pretty quickly, because hell, it doesn't matter who you are, they'll fire you in a year. They have a new coach every year, it seems. So he better win. He better win quick, and they better get a damn quarterback quick, because they're not winning with Aiden O'Connell.
No, not at all. And the last one, of course, I mean, it's almost like he does it to create headlines rather than win. Brian Schottenheimer in Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about this one. Obviously, this guy has been a assistant coach for a long time, but he hasn't gotten a head coaching job, I think, for a reason. Yeah. And his dad was a great head coach. Well, a lot of people's dads are great doctors. That doesn't mean I want their sons doing brain surgery on me.
Exactly.
So we'll see. I don't understand how this is an upgrade over McCarthy. No. I mean, Mike McCarthy is a Super Bowl winning coach. He won 12 games season 2 years in a row. And then you don't resign him and you replace him with some guy that's never coached a game as a head football coach ever, or a head coach at any level. I don't get it. And, it's Jerry being Jerry. He's like, yeah, it's a gamble, but I'm a gambling man. It's just like, no, you're an idiot.
Yeah, I'm a wild card. You're right. Yeah. The press conference alone was the saddest thing I've ever seen, because it was almost like you got Schottenheimer sitting there. He's like, am I taking a chance on this? Of course I am. But that's what I do. Yeah, he's never coached before. I'm taking a chance. Like, what?
Yeah, no, it was bad. The only thing that I've seen that was worse was the Rob Ryan press conference yesterday over at USC. Have you seen that yet?
No.
Oh boy, you might want to check that out, because it is it's straight up comedy. In the fact, I don't even really know how to describe it, but I'll play a minute. I'll play a minute of it for you, just so you can see what you think.
Finish this year. Watch where we finish this year. This guy is special. He's special. He knows how to get it done. He's a great communicator, great teacher. He's fun to be around. He makes everybody better, including the coaches. And, we'll see. I'm looking forward for the, what do you call it, spring ball or whatever. I can't wait. We're going to go against the best. Oh, good. Bring it on. Let's see. I can't wait.
God, he's just like his brother.
Bam. We're going to get after his little butt. But anyway, it'll be great. We're excited. And I saw the Mayava guy. I coached his uncle. I hated that kid when I first saw him. A USC kid, a little captain. Remember, he could walk under this table right here. Little guy. We draft this little one. Like, oh, man.
The microphone's over there.
This guy, I was all over this kid during the OTAs. Like, man, this guy, man, you got to run cover guy. Anyway.
What's he talking about?
I think he hit the bar before he got there.
What is he talking about? I mean,
I have no idea.
And it looks like Rex Ryan wearing a wig.
They're twin brothers.
I know, but
it's just they look more and more alike. But they both have the same freaking way back. They both have the same voice too.
Yeah, they really do. If you close your eyes, you're thinking like, why is Rex Ryan talking about USC? I don't know what's going on out there. If that's the guy you brought in to fix your defense, you're in deep shit.
Lincoln Riley is great offensive mind. He produced probably as many Heisman Trophy winners as any coach out there, probably outside of Saban and who knows, John McKay from the 70s. But he just doesn't seem to be able to. I think he's one of those guys, when we look back on him, we're going to say he should have stayed a coordinator.
Yeah. No, it's certainly looking like that. I mean, he had some success at Oklahoma, but, you should have probably stayed there. I don't understand. This move to USC just has not worked out. I'm surprised that the leash has been as long as it has been, considering he's making, he's making $10 million base salary. And then he gets all these perks, and they pay for all of his expenses, and they pay for his house, and they give him a plane. He's the most overpaid coach in college football by far.
Yeah, from a production standpoint, that's for sure. You going to do the show this weekend or taking the weekend off for the Super Bowl?
I think we're going to do one more show this weekend and then take next week off, because next week I'm going to Ohio. So we're going to do one more show this weekend. And we had a great show last week. We broke down the Senior Bowl. In case anybody missed it, check it out. We broke down all the coaching moves and some of the recruiting stuff, and then also, talked a lot of Senior Bowl stuff, the winners and the losers from the game. It's very interesting now how, it used to be February 4th was the big recruiting day. Well, now everybody's got their recruits all in the bag, from December. And thank God the Buckeyes signed their whole class in December, because they've lost all their, assistants. So it was good that everybody already signed up.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right. You got to go pick up your car. I'm going to go sit on my couch, watch a little TV. I don't know what's on tonight. Hopefully a hockey game or a basketball game or something, because regular TV is just crap.
No doubt.
So we will see. Have a good Super Bowl. We will see. I don't want to say go Chiefs, but because this one Super Bowl I really don't have a good feel, or don't have a real caring interest in for the first time. So.
Well, we'll see. If the Chiefs get every call, they'll probably win. But there's been a lot of talk about that. So I got a feeling that the refs are going to be maybe a little more hesitant to throw that flag this game. But we'll see. We'll see, man. It's they've been getting the calls for sure, but it's not like people act like they're not good. Okay, this is the greatest, potentially the greatest coach of all time in the NFL, and I'm telling you, this kid is probably, especially if Reed sticks around, he's going to win just as many Super Bowls as anybody else, because he's that good. He's a winner, and that's what you want, man. You want a guy that can win you games, and it doesn't matter what the score is. As long as it's close, the Chiefs got a chance.
That's for sure. All right, my friend. I will talk to you later.
All right, bud.